Welcome back. It is Tuesday, 1 p.m. Lex, thank you, sir. You're able to make it happen, man. And here we are. We're in a new format, new layout, new design. My name is Jared Uraine with the Five Diamond Group here at Vice Realty, and this is Move It. Take it away, Lex. Go. Welcome back with the Five Diamond Group here at Vice Realty, and this is Move It, the podcast where we cover a variety of different subjects related to our personal growth, travel, as well as local businesses. And today we have a special guest with us, Jessica Haywood with Café con Leche Planner, and specifically Plan Her, not Planner. Get it right. We're going to be getting in touch with her here shortly. In what you can expect for today's episode, we're going to walk through today's special conversation of the month, which is going to be Mental Health Awareness Month, which is typically done here in May, and why it's pretty important to be aware of those things. I have a short market update report for you on the real estate side, and then, of course, our special guest, Jessica, will wrap it up for us in the last half of the hour. So let's get started. In today's conversation for this month really is about mental health awareness. And most commonly it's done in May because it was established in 1949. It was actually almost a federal holiday, but it's just a now kind of a tradition to bring awareness to folks regarding the different types of mental health awareness and why it needs to be addressed. It was started by the Mental Health America organization, and it's typically held in May. But during these months, they have a variety of different themes that they want to bring awareness to. Now, the purpose obviously is to raise awareness, to educate the public about the illnesses, especially those who suffer from depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorders, any of the realities that relate to these conditions, and the strategies on how to navigate them today. The reason why this is important today, even more so, obviously with a lot of the drama that's happening in the news, whether it be the gun violence that we see, or really just the contrast polarization of many of the politics that's out there, may stem from mental illness. Now, not necessarily an illness, but maybe a challenge that many people have dealt with. And I'll elaborate a little further on that behind it. But at the end of the day, the Mental Health Awareness Month is designed to reduce the stigma that has commonly been present with this particular conversation for many, many decades. Why should people be aware of this? What is the purpose of bringing this kind of awareness? Investing in our mental health, it's really not a luxury. It's a necessity. When we take care of our emotional and our mental states or our health, we're actually investing in our future happiness and actually our success. Life is really an amazing journey. It's a wonderful journey. And our perspective of that journey, in that adventure, it's managed by our emotional and our mental health. See, these are essential components. They have a significant impact on our thoughts, on our behaviors, our belief systems, as well as our emotions. They shape how we perceive the world, how we respond to stress, how we interact with others. It's crucial that we prioritize our mental health at every stage of our life, starting from childhood. Because many of the adults that operate today, they're operating on a map system that was shaped during the early years of their youth, and many people haven't questioned the reality of that map. Imagine driving down a highway and finding an old map for a treasure, but none of those roads exist. You'd have to do some research and digging to really analyze the quality of that map, and more importantly, the directions that are held within. So too is our mental health, as well as our awareness to this health. We have to question sometimes our reality. Now, it's not to diminish another person's perspective, but more importantly, to question our reality, whether or not we have adopted or embraced belief systems that might be outdated, that might not be working for us today. Why is it that some people simply cope with their situation, whereas others, in the same scenario, they thrive? That was a question I've asked myself many times. I've had many friends in the past that have been able to give me great examples of people who can thrive in really terrible situations. The significance of our mental health, it lies in the ability to enable us to cope with challenges that come our way and really to make meaningful contributions to our community. When we prioritize our mental and emotional well-being, we can maintain good relationships, especially with those who are around us or that have meaning for us. It helps us create productive environments, and in the end, it'll help us achieve our true full potential. Our mental health is really interconnected with our physical health. It makes it a critical aspect of our overall healthy life. Think about it. If you're stressed and you're about to eat a meal, a good meal, one of your favorite meals, or maybe someone's pissed you off just before that, how much are you really going to enjoy that meal? See, our emotional state, our reaction to many things and how we deal with them affect our quality of life. And it's just not having the right attitude. It's not about attitude. This is a skill of critical thinking, being able to assess information, being able to process it and decide what information really is truth or what things I need to deal with maybe at a different time. And being able to disconnect, saying from that moment that you want to react and saying, I will deal with this, but at the moment, this is what's important. This is what's present. Imagine if many of our political leaders were able to truly assess truth as opposed to the debates and the challenges that go. I would imagine that we probably have a different world we live in. Well, a real developed set of critical thinking skills, it builds self-empowerment. It builds confidence, and it enables us to efficiently gather knowledge. Quickly process information, we can intelligently analyze data, and when we apply this to our emotional component, well, it'll absolutely help and positively affect our lives. Now, why is this important? Why do I feel this is important to me? Well, this is important for me for several reasons. For starters, much like many of the families of the 80s, well, our parents dealt with challenges and childhoods really, where they fought these stigmas. It wasn't available for them to have these conversations. I'm pretty proud of the fact that I can. I'm pretty proud of the fact that I can have those conversations with my parents. And I believe many of our children today need to have those discussions with their parents. Again, to be able to see if our roadmaps align and contribute to our overall success. I don't blame my parents for the experiences I went through. I chose to allow those things to exist, to actually embrace those issues, but not to let it affect my personal direction in my life. I acknowledge maybe some of the damage or challenges we dealt with, but I embrace all of that as a part of who I am. And so while I may not totally be where I think I may be or where society should think I should be, I'm absolutely proud of the fact that I did go through therapy and that I was able to embrace all of the drama that came with it. And I'm here to be able to help any of my family or friends or anyone else who is dealing with that moment and say, yes, it's okay to go to therapy. Yes, it's okay to have these discussions. And yes, you can have those feelings. But the question is, how do you deal with it? How do you react to it? How do you make this a contribution to your life? That's this portion of Mental Health Awareness Month for May. And I will continue that discussion in the next couple of episodes. If you like that information, I invite you now to actually just save this link, maybe share it with some friends, and set a reminder notification for our channel because we're going to be having these kinds of discussions along with our real estate update and our special guest. But again, my name is Jared with the 5 Diamond Group, and if you're just joining us, please be sure to bookmark this page. And just to kind of give you a recap, coming up shortly, we've got Jessica Haywood from Café con Leche, Planners. In the meantime, we're going to switch it on over, Lex. We're going to take it away to the market update. In today's real estate market update, we have some exciting and interesting news. You've heard for the last couple of, actually 4 months, our median price point being at $425,000 for a single family home here in Las Vegas. And as expected, since our inventory has been dwindling, our median price point has actually gone up to $430,000 in the month of April. That's for a typical single family home here in Las Vegas. And what that means to you is that as we see inventory dropping, our home prices will continue to rise up as expected. Now, it's not as aggressive as we saw in 2021, but we are definitely seeing multiple offer scenario. And so what that means to you as a buyer is if you are shopping, make sure you have your profile as strong as possible. And if you're selling, well, it's another wonderful time to sell because you're going to get your top dollar, and we'll probably get you some multiple offers in the sale of your home. Nationally, we're seeing the same activity happen with inventory being just over 2 months nationwide and the median price point still at around $400,000. That does it for this market update report. This was sponsored by the Uraine Ordonez 5 Diamond Group at Vice Realty. When it comes to purchasing a home, making sure that you get the right information the first time is our goal. So make sure you get your buyer's consultation or your seller's consultation to assess your personal situation in whatever your choice is going forward. That does it for our market segment. On to our sponsor guest. Awesome. Welcome back to the Move It podcast with me, Jared Uraine, at the 5 Diamond Group here at Vice Realty. And with us today is my personal friend, actually, Jessica Haywood, founder and CEO of Café con Leche Planners. Welcome.
Thank you, Jared.
And how are you today?
I'm fabulous and nervous. Great to be here.
See, the joy of going live is that whatever happens, happens, and we take it as it is.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, thank you for the invite.
And when you had mentioned that you were going to make day planners, it perked my ears. It was like one of those responses of like, that sounds like not going to work, but wait a minute, I need to make sure I heard this correctly. And because I'm a big fan of day planners, obviously to be able to manage our time better and so forth, but you have a different angle.
I do.
Yeah, so
I
tell
do.
us, what is it that you brought to the table?
So what I brought to the table was a Spanglish stationery company, and named Café con Leche Plan Her. And I brought
Plan Her.
Yes,
Yeah.
Plan Her.
Yes.
I brought notebooks, journals, and positive cards for positive encouragement. And I also am working on the agenda as a planner that comes with, it's yearly, so it's actually monthly, daily, weekly, and then I have a little notes section and like a to-do section. So the great thing about it is that there's no dates on anything, so it doesn't matter when you get it, you can make it your own.
Okay, so that right there, that's a key factor that I appreciate, because I remember buying those packets of Franklin Covey. I mean Franklin Caca. And it was locked into these dates, right? And you end up buying it in May or April, and it's like I lost half the year.
Exactly, exactly. So it's and it's really the inserts, you'll be able to buy them and make it fit. So let's say you are a monthly person, but your schedule is weekly. So then you would just buy the monthly inserts and the weekly inserts.
So it's modular.
Yes.
Awesome.
You make it fit like how you roll, how your day goes.
And we need that in our lives,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Awesome.
yes.
And obviously, your target audience is who?
Is Latinas, especially Spanglish women.
Oh, that sucks, I guess.
But don't worry, I got something working for the men.
Oh, all right, cool, all right. Well, Jesse, I know you have a great story. So, can you share with us, how did you get to this point? How did you get to be sitting in this seat? What's the journey?
So my experience was as an entrepreneur was more of a service-based business, right? And so unlike this one, whereas this one is more of creating products that have never been seen.
Yeah, because you were a serial entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You still are in a way, but this is your next chapter, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make sure that, it was for Latinas and that it would be Spanglish.
Okay, awesome. And so how did you get here? What's the background? Like, how did this product?
How did this come about? How did
Yeah.
this baby? So when I was young, I mean, first of all, I love stationery. I absolutely love stationery. And I remember when I was young, going to the stores and going down the stationery aisle and not seeing anything that I could relate to. Even now, I go and there's nothing that I can relate to. So, I changed it. And I'm sorry, what was the question?
How did you get here? What's the journey?
Oh, my journey. Yes. And then, oh my God, I just went blank. I'm so sorry.
So you saw that there was a gap in the market.
Yes, a gap in the market for stationery that we can relate to as Latina women.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I changed it. And this is what we have now.
That inspired you to create something targeted towards Latino women. But was that the first version of that, or did you have like some other concept that you needed some feedback?
Well, that was my very first concept. I knew that I wanted something that we can relate to, as a Latina woman, something that I can walk around and be proud of, something that represents me. And when I started creating the line, the very first thing I knew was that I wanted Latina women on the cover of my notebooks, my cards, even inside my journals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so you had these custom made?
Yes. So they are illustrated from the perspective of a woman, by a woman, for a woman.
Naturally. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. And then you've got these journals here, because I've seen these at some of the main stores, right?
Yes.
But what do we got here?
So the journals, each journal, I have 5 different ones, and each journal is something different. So this one, honestly, is about traveling, and I can tell you, thank you to you and your wife. You guys were the inspiration on the travel journal, honestly, because when I was young, I studied French, and I knew one day I would go to France, and you guys made that happen. So many years later, you guys made it happen. And I, as a Latina, growing up, our parents tell us a lot of times, like, they're scared for us, or like, oh, I'm going to go travel. Oh, no, don't go by yourself. Don't do this, don't do that. And also, también, there's times where, like, again, my dream was to go to France. So I came up with this one, and it says, los viajes se viven 3 veces. Cuando lo soñamos, cuando lo vivimos, y cuando lo recordamos. So when you open it up,
translated for
oh, okay.
for non-Latino friends.
So I don't know if it's going to translate
literally,
but it says, trips are lived 3 times. When you dream about it, when you live it, and when you remember it.
Yeah.
And I know getting stamps on my passport was like huge.
Yes.
So I made stamps on here. And I also put a little quote in here. It says, I travel because I'd rather look back at life saying, no puedo creer que yo hice eso instead of if only I had, which is something that happens a lot.
Yes.
And
that's one of the reasons why we travel. That's our mission. We don't want people to sit back and reflect and regret.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so all the illustrations, like I said, everything in here, my favorite, again, I actually have a map in this one, and it has like a little cruise ship, a car, or a plane to show travel.
3 different ways of travel.
Exactly.
Plane, trains, and automobiles.
Exactly. I thought about that movie when I did
right?
it.
Awesome. ¿Y qué más? What else?
So I also have, these are positive cards, pensamientos positivos. And again, I didn't want like really affirmation cards because as a Latina, there's certain phrases and sayings that just we can't relate to,
Sure.
you know? And I wanted something también que era English, Spanish, and Spanglish al mismo tiempo. So I came up with these cards, you know, with and I have 4 decks.
Okay.
They're all different. And so this one says, sometimes the only obstacle in your way is you.
Isn't it true?
Yes. And also, I made these with the intentions of, so for instance, I would keep these in my purse. And while I'm out at the store, see if I can get like, she's a little down or something, you know what, here's a little bit of encouragement. Because you never know, sometimes as women, we just need to hear or remember. And this helps.
You know, you nailed a market component that I've been actually playing with myself. Because as you know, I attend the prisons as a volunteer, and you know, I can't have a personal relationship with these men other than the time that I spend there. But you can see their desire to you know, to fight the system, and they're in a terrible situation, right? But I mean, equally for us, you know, we may not be locked up, but a lot of us might be fighting that mental stigma or whatever that challenges are in the home. Yeah, and these
Especially like
cards,
earlier, you know, this month was especially, you know, talking about mental health.
Right.
And speaking about mental health, I actually have this other this journal. Let me see. And they're all different. I have one here. Maybe
being able to encourage journaling.
Yes,
Yeah.
to express our feelings. So,
Right.
okay, so this one. Again, as Latinas, we are not raised where, you know, families don't have boundaries. First of all, there's like 0 boundaries.
Right.
And so we also, you know, we don't talk back, we respect. And so where are we going to put all of our feelings? Because we do have feelings. Where are we going to put it into, you know? So this one I made especially for that. So in the morning, you can put down your feelings. And this is, even if you have feelings and not knowing where to start, this one has prompts to help you with that. So this one says, me desperté sintiendo, I am, because, estoy agradecida por, and hoy I will accomplish.
Yeah.
So you can just write down your feelings. And
So journaling for me is very important. That's something I encourage to anybody who's dealing with that. In fact, you know, there's many conversations I have that have helped. That people have asked for help. You know, in that sense, it's like sometimes you just need to go to a book and just let it out.
yeah.
And the advantage you get by that, and the instruction that was given to me one time was, you know, write it down, because just like the cover of your book, it's got to come from the head. Meaning you're thinking about that. It's already there. There ain't no, I mean, you can't change what's there. But now that you can articulate it, now it's process number 2, and you physically got to write it, process number 3, to get it down on paper. And sometimes just that data dump is like a release.
Exactly.
There's no judgment. There's nothing to be worried about. You get that out. And man, what a relief that is.
Yes, and then, you know, like going on what you said, that dump. And so I have a journal for a daily dump. So if you're one, I like to doodle sometimes.
Yep.
So I have one that is just lines, or it's blank, or then you have a little graph. So however you want to dump in your journal, you do it.
Flexible tool.
It is.
Very cool.
It is.
Clearly, you've put in a lot of thought into being able to establish something that fits the marketplace, especially for your clientele. What challenges did you have to get through in order to get to this point right here?
So one of the challenges was that I wanted to make sure that I represented us correctly. And in order to do that, I had to take a deep dive into our culture. And so when I say our culture, I mean Latinas, you know, Dominican, Puerto Rican, it doesn't matter. We're all Latinas. And so that's where I had to go ahead and take that deep dive. And then the other challenge was that, well, like I said, I knew for sure that I wanted representation on here. So that's where we have all the Latinas on there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's pretty apparent as to what the differences are between this and see
Yes.
at the
This
store,
is my
right?
heart and soul into this.
Right. If you know, along this journey, what are some of the milestones, the highlights, some of the moments that you really enjoyed?
So one of the milestones was when I was thinking about the name, Café con Leche. I actually had written down a bunch of different names, but I always kept coming back to this one. So It wasn't until my attorney filed the registration for the trademark that I was like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah,
It's
right.
happening. And the other milestone was seeing that the idea that I had come to life. So it went from idea to draft to a sample to the final product.
And this is your first batch?
Yes.
It is. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Very good. And so these are for sale and available?
So they're on my website,
Okay.
cafeconlecheplanher.com.
Got it.
As well as if you want to look me up, or I'm also on social media, the same. My handles are Café con Leche Plan Her.
Excellent. And that's on which outlets?
That is on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
All right. Very good.
I'm make sure I'm saturated.
And that's Plan Her,
Her.
H-E-R, not
Correct.
Planner.
Correct.
Plan Her. You want to
Yes.
show that shirt? Plan Her.
Yes.
All right, on all the social outlets. And the URL for the website is cafeconleche.com. Jessie Haywood, thank you.
Cafeconlecheplanher.com.
Ah, thank you. See, that's why we put it out there. We will have the links available in the description below. One last question for
Yes.
you, Jessie, before we wrap this up. What advice would you give to someone who is maybe listening and has, you know, been dealing with a vision, an idea, a goal, something that they really want, but they might be in a situation that just seems like it's just too far out of the reach?
Well, I will, first of all, you know, whatever they want to go into, have a passion for it. And, you know, the business journey, you will have highs and you will have lows. So when you hit the low, you just got to keep on pushing, you know. And if you believe it, like nobody's going to believe it more than you are.
That's right.
So you have to be kind of like your own cheerleader. So when you're down, let's go. We got to do this. Get yourself back up and continue to do it,
Right.
you know. And then as far as, you know, like a specific market, somebody, let's say, who wanted to go into stationery, I like to say, like going down the aisle and seeing bread. You have wheat bread, white bread, rye bread, all kinds of bread, right? It's all bread, but you have a gluten allergy, but you don't see that option. So what do? You come up with a gluten-free. So even though, and when I say that, even though there's so many different kinds of breads, there's always going to be something for your particular clientele, your customer, your niche, your audience. And that's where you have to go into.
Yeah. There's always going to be the naysayers.
Yes.
But that's where the passion comes in, and being able to say, hey, this is my vision.
Correct.
And I want to work for it.
Correct.
And that's where the passion will get you through those down moments, because sometimes, I mean, it happens a lot.
It does.
Yeah, and sometimes we do it to ourselves.
Yes, we do. And that's why sometimes I really do have these
That's right.
cards, and I use them. They help me be like, oh, yeah, you know what, you're right. Because this one right here, I get in the way of myself sometimes.
Absolutely, we do.
So.
That's human nature in a way.
Yes.
And that's the beauty about something like this. It really does allow you that space and place to be able to get the encouragement from the start,
Yes.
from your own space.
Yes. And I also have more products, not just journals and cards and
Okay.
notebooks. I have, so these are sticky notes, but they're transparent.
Okay.
And I love them because when we get books, sometimes we get really nice books, but you really don't want to write in them. So you can just take a sticky, put it over it, and write your notes on top.
Okay. All right.
And
That's
when you peel
creative.
it off, it doesn't leave that
Yeah,
stickiness on there.
stickiness.
Yes. So I have a set of 4, and all my colors are in the warm brown colors.
Yeah.
You know, my highlighters, también they're like pastel. They're not the fat, ugly yellow ones that roll off.
Right.
They're just, yeah. So definitely check out the website. I have all the products. And the good news is, I got a text this morning that my second truck is on its way.
Yes. Congratulations. Excellent.
Thank you, thank you,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
So before we wrap this up, what is the URL? Share with the group.
It's www.cafeconlecheplanher.com.
And do we have any sort of incentives?
Yes. So tonight I will be dropping, but currently I have one bundle on the website where you can get all 4 deck of cards for $50.
Okay.
So I'm going to offer now, you can get all 4 notebooks in one bundle, all 5 journals in another bundle, or the surprise bundle where you have 1 deck of cards, 1 journal, and 1 notebook. So
Okay.
those will go live this evening.
All right.
But it's only going to be for the rest of the month. So
Okay.
ya cuando se termina el mes, there's
Right.
like no
That's
more.
it.
That's it.
All right. So head on over to cafeconlecheplanner.com for your access to any one of those bundles.
Yes.
Jessica, thank you so much
Thank
for joining us.
you.
Give them where they can find you once again.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook at Café con Leche Plan Her. También the website is cafeconlecheplanher.com. Oh, and YouTube también.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Congratulations on your success.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing that next second truckload arrive.
Yes.
All right. Well, that does it for this episode of the Move It podcast with me, Jared Uraine at the 5 Diamond Group here at Advice Realty. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we are going to do a deep dive into the real estate market and the economy with Miguel Francis. So if you are interested in that, stay tuned. That does it for this episode. Make sure you save, like, and share. Of course, when it comes to making progress in our life, it's our choice every day. So thanks for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you next time.